Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's head-to-head comparison, let's take a look at the 2025 BMW X3 and the 2026 Audi Q5. I borrowed these from Audi Northlake and Hendrick BMW Northlake, so take a look at their lengths along with the full detailed reviews I've been able to make on both of these models. So let's start off with their MSRPs. For the BMW, they start around $49,500 versus closer to $46,900 for the Audi. In today's review, these models are both similarly spec'd right around $60,000. So the X3 is powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic, and it pumps out 255 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. The Audi has a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder turbo as well, paired to a 7-speed S-tronic automatic, and it pumps out 268 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. Now, both of these are all-wheel drive. They both weigh in around 4,200 pounds. 0 to 60 is going to be a bit quicker for the Audi at 5.8 seconds versus 6 seconds for the BMW. Top speeds are going to be 130 miles an hour. However, with the BMW, with the right package, that can be bumped up to 150 miles an hour. And then their fuel capacities are fairly similar, 18.5 gallons for the Audi versus 17.2 for the BMW. And you're looking at 22 in the city and 30 out on the highway for the Audi, 21 and 28 for the BMW in terms of their miles per gallon. Now, as we work our way to the exterior styling, they have a completely different design. We have the kidney grille along with the illuminations for this particular model. There's a forward camera, the sensors in the grille for distance pacing. There's also parking sensors too, a lot of gloss black accents, and then a neat design for the headlight housings, which have a dark inner housing. Now on the Audi, there's the hexagonal design for the grille. This also has a forward-facing camera. There's the new Audi badge, parking sensors as well. The sensor for distance pacing is in the lower section of the bumper, and then the headlights are a little bit thinner. So they have a much different design, but everything is fairly similar, even the cutouts on the edges to provide even more cooling. And then you'll notice a little bit more of an edgy and boxy design for the BMW, especially on the hood there, versus more of a flowing design for the hood on the Audi. Now, as we move our way to the side, you'll notice that the BMW has the M Sport brakes. There's also a really nice design for these particular wheels. You have standard brakes on the Q5 with a really nice design for the wheel. Now, it's worth noting you can also get the SQ5, which is going to be a little bit more performance oriented. You can also get the 50i for the X3, again, more performance oriented. Now, this does have power folding side mirrors. They have the turn signal and a camera, full moonroof up top with roof racks. And then same thing goes for the BMW, just a two-tone design for this model. You have the roof racks and the full moonroof too. Now, as we take a step back, like I just mentioned, the X3 is a little bit more boxy in its overall exterior shape versus a little bit more smooth with the Audi. So just your preference on what you like better. It's also worth noting too that we have more of a traditional door handle for the Audi versus more of the slim design for the BMW there. Now, working our way to the back, you'll notice that this has a gloss black spoiler. There's also the third brake light and the wiper blade. LEDs for all the lighting. There's the backup camera. You get more gloss black for the lower bumper there, and then the exhaust is very well hidden. It's tucked up underneath that bumper. Now, you can use the button on the key fob or up underneath to gain access to the cargo space, where this does have a power operating lift gate there. There's also this cover that you can easily retract. And then underneath the floor, you'll notice you have a spare with a little bit of storage. You can also place that cover underneath there as well. You do have a storage net, a 12-volt, and some hooks, a little bit more of a cutout over that way. And then, of course, you can fold down the back seats. Now, you can't actually fold them down from back here unless you reach in and grab that or walk around. And then up top, you have two buttons to close it or to lock the vehicle. Now, as we work our way to the Audi, this also has a spoiler up top with the third brake light and the wiper blade. LEDs, they connect through that lift gate. You have the backup camera, all the sensors, and then the dual exhaust is visible on this model. And then same thing, you can use the button on the key fob or the one up underneath. Where you have roughly the same amount of space, underneath the floor in this model, however, there's no spare. You have a ton of extra storage to use it as needed. You have a 12-volt, some nets, some hooks too. Only difference is you can fold down the back seats just by pulling on those tabs. So that way it makes it a little bit easier to do. And then you have the same two buttons located up top. Now, as we work our way to the rears, you'll notice there's no proximity door handle on the back for the X3. You can go in and create a setting where you can grab the front door handles, for it to unlock the rear. Now, interiors are going to vary just depending on the spec that you go with, but for this model, really nice design around the release handle and the speaker there. And then just to show with the seats down folded there, you have a large cutout to place in any items. Now in the back, you have storage pockets. You also have an area where you can place and charge tablets. You get vents in the middle. There's also some controls for your climate. So you have fan speed and temperature. There's auxiliaries too. And then at my height, 5'10", I have maybe 2 inches or so of headroom. So it's actually pretty comfortable. These seats are fixed, so they don't go any farther back, but they're reclined slightly just to make it comfortable. Now you have the armrest with cup holders in the middle, and then you can also fold down this middle seat individually if you need to do that. And then you'll notice there is a pretty big pillar there, but there's large cargo windows so you can see around that entire pillar. Now, as we work our way to the Audi, this does get proximity door handles, so you can grab any door handle to unlock it. You'll notice that we do have a much different design with the grab handle and the release handle. And then with this model here, you can fold down the seats, of course, just like the X3. However, these seats move forwards and backwards, and you can use that lever to recline them too. So a little bit more versatile. Now you have storage pockets, you have auxiliaries, vents, temperature adjustments, and then at my height, about the same amount of headroom, to be honest. The only difference is that you can recline this slightly just a little bit more and move the seat as needed. Everything else is going to be the same in terms of your cup holders, armrest, and folding the seat down. And then that window looks about the same as far as the visibility you are going to see around the pillar. Now I have full detailed reviews on both of these models, so I'll go through this fairly quickly. On the Audi, you have this huge control panel with a lot of functions. Memory seating adjustments, mirror controls, headlight adjustments are now on the door panel. You have lock and unlock, and then windows, liftgate, and some storage. You also have automatic seats with a very nice design to them. And then as we start this up, we have a new design for the steering wheel, which gives it a great look. This also has paddle shifters too. You get a heated steering wheel in this model. There's volume tuning. You have a favorites button as well. And then on the left side, you have controls for the digital gauge cluster. So you can hide information away and just look at info in the middle, or you can scroll through some information over on that left side, and you can go through information on the right side too. So you have a little bit that you can go through, which is nice. You have your cruise control, distance pacing, a little bit of storage down below. There's some nice wood trim accents for this model. And then with the infotainment system, you have a lot more that you can go through. So everything is going to be fixed on this left side. You can quickly get to some of your home functions. You can pull up the navigation, your phone when that is paired. You have various settings that you can get into and monitor. This also has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You have several other icons that you can go into and customize. You have your audio, some more information within the vehicle here that you can go through and monitor. There's also a store as well, so you can get into that. And then everything in the lower section is for your climate. So you have the menu, as you saw earlier, temperature dials. This has heated seats. You have some other recirc adjustments too. Now below that, there's air vents. You have volume, traction control, hazards, engine start stop. And then you do have a few different driving modes that you can access. There's wireless charging with auxiliaries. You have cup holders. You do have a control to get into your favorites, so you can get through some of that safety information. You have this shortcut here for parking, where we do have parallel parking, which is nice. And then if we just put it into reverse now, we can bring up the entire camera system here, where you have the forwards and rear facing angles, along with some top-down views. Now there's drive, sport mode, where you can use the paddles, and then park. Now you have storage in the armrest, and then you also have a locking glove box. You can also opt in certain models to get a passenger screen, so you can go through similar information to the infotainment system. That's not on every model. You have garage door buttons up top, and then touch sensitive buttons for the dome lights and sunroof and sunshade. And then here's a look at visibility from the driver's seat here, where it's pretty easy to see over both shoulders, even with that pillar there. And then as we work our way to the X3, the door panel is going to be a little bit different. This has ambient lighting surrounding the release handle. You have controls for lock and unlock, memory seating adjustment, and then a separation with the mirror adjustments. You have your window controls and that liftgate release, a little bit more storage as well. And then again, interior will vary depending on the options you like to go with. But as far as the steering wheel goes, we do have a different design, flat bottom design. You still have paddle shifters on both sides. there's all of the cruise control settings, and then on the right side, you have adjustments for Bluetooth and voice commands, along with your volume, and then you can push on this button here and get through the digital gauge cluster. So in terms of the functionality, it's going to be about the same. You do get a little bit more, however, with the BMW. You also have a few different layouts that you can go into, and this particular model does have a head-up display. So you can go through several icons within that as well. Now on this left side, you have one air vent adjustment. There's no storage. And then with the infotainment system, you only have fixed info in the lower section, but you can go through quite a lot. You even get controls located down below. So you don't have to use this as a touchscreen system like in the Audi. Now you have a home screen where you can go through a split view here. You have all of your climates. You can get into the nav along with music. This particular model also has heated and ventilated seats and a heated steering wheel. Some of those are going to be options, of course. Now you have a lot of ambient lighting compared to the Audi. You have vents in the middle. You do have wireless charging down below with a lot of storage there. You have some physical buttons here for the infotainment along with volume tuning. There's also a few modes with this model too. So it's going to change all of the lighting too and the throttle response for some of these modes. But pretty interesting to see. BMW has had some quirky features like this in the past, but you can go through all of those. You also have another control located down below to get into these modes here. So you have your driver assistance, drivetrain and chassis, and you can also pull up the camera system as well. Now this has parallel parking just like the Audi, and then you have a little bit different of a configuration to get through all of the settings here, but it's essentially the same. A little larger of a view and a screen though for the BMW. And then this is how you put it into reverse, where you have the camera system. You have drive and sport mode for those paddles, and then park on the back. You get an auxiliary with a little bit of space there. There's also a locking glove box, and then you have garage door buttons up top, dome lights, and controls for that sunshade and sunroof. And now here's a look at visibility with the BMW. Again, about the same, since it will be a similar-ish design in that back pillar there. But with the exteriors and interiors wrapped up, let's get both of these out on the road and see how they drive. So we'll start off behind the wheel for the X3 in sport mode second gear. Here we go. And just a mild acceleration, and this definitely has a good bit of power to it, good pep to it to get up and move. The paddles are also pretty responsive too, and it's worth noting that on the downshift paddle, so on this left side, it actually says boost on it. So if you are at speed, let's get up to fourth gear, and you hold on this for a few seconds, it will downshift 2 gears. You have a counter from 10 seconds, basically. If you need to merge, pass, you just want to get up to speed, it will rev match those downshifts so that way you have a smooth acceleration to get back up to speed. So that is a neat performance feature to have for this model. But it's something that's very nice to drive. It's going to be incredibly comfortable, very well refined. Now for the latest X3, a lot of people have commented when I filmed or reviewed this against the previous X3 that it's gone a little bit cheap. There are some nice materials in this model for sure. There is some plastic, you'll see that in the Audi too. I don't think it looks cheap. We have leather, we have some leather on the dash. I think it's a really nice design. The more that I've seen it, yes, there might be some plastic here for the X3 badge and some of those controls, but I don't think you're really going to get away from that at this price point. It is still expensive, but even more expensive vehicles have plastic and things like that. But on that note, I think it's a really nice interior. It's well done, but it drives nice. It's very smooth, comfortable. It's what you would expect from a BMW. And at this price point too, it competes with a lot of other non-luxury brands. It is a little bit small, but if you're not looking for a large SUV, it definitely will offer you with a lot of space. It's going to be very easy to maneuver in parking lot situations and things like that. But definitely a great place to be. I have probably 3 or so inches of headspace, and we do have a height adjustable seat for the X3 here. So if you are taller than me, it makes it easier to be able to fit in the driver or front passenger seat. And again, very easy to maneuver and get back up to speed here. So let's hop into the new Q5 and see the differences. And in dynamic mode second gear, here we go. And about the same, obviously, for what I'm doing today, but both of these are going to have a good bit of power, very similar, as I mentioned earlier, with their specs. This model does not have a boost paddle on this left side, so you will have to downshift accordingly if you plan on using the paddles. But same thing with the Q5. This is a luxury-focused SUV. This is going to give you a very nice and refined ride. You do have the option of getting a passenger screen. I was able to show some of those functions in the separate full review on this vehicle. We don't have it in this particular model, but I was able to see it very similar to the infotainment system. So you do get another benefit like that if you have a passenger a lot and you want that function. But the turning radius is going to be fairly similar, just as the X3 there. Neither of these are loud. It's a nice quiet vehicle. It's what you'd expect for something that's well refined. Now, like I mentioned earlier in the X3, we do have some plastics for this interior as well, but their overall interior gives it a really nice look with all the trim accents. There's several different options that you can go with to make these suited for you. So you can get some really nice interior accents. Now, with this model at 5'10", I have probably about the same amount of headroom, 3 inches or so, and we do have that height adjustment. So that way you can be taller than me and still fit comfortably. Now, what I will say with the BMW, you have a lot of physical controls. With the Audi here, it is basically just a touchscreen system aside from your volume and tuning. So if you are looking for the dial and those controls, the BMW is going to be the way to go. If you're more of a fan of this cleaner style look, this is the way to go. So we have some pros and cons to both, just depending on what suits you best. And coming back to our final thoughts now with the BMW X3 and the Audi Q5. I know those were short test drives, but you can take a look at the full detailed reviews for more driving impressions, as well as the details on these specific models. Honestly, both of these are very fun, smaller size SUVs. It's really nice to see Audi has finally stepped up to that next level where a lot of manufacturers are putting in those curved screens, going away from some of the physical buttons, but I think it's a really nice interior layout. Very similar, of course, to the BMW. So both of these are going to be really great. I'm honestly torn between which one I would go with. I do like the exterior styling. I like some of the interior features on the Audi, especially the second row seats sliding. In a smaller vehicle like that, that's definitely going to be very beneficial. But I own an Audi and I own a BMW, so I am torn right down the middle. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Not everyone is a huge fan of this boxy design for the X3, but I think it's slowly growing on myself and some other people the more that you see them out on the road. If you just want more of a standardized SUV look, the Audi is definitely going to provide you with that. Still a really nice design though for this latest generation. So again, comment down below, let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.